Hello, everyone. Mr. Adnan. Thank you very much. So I will continue, and can you make me please allow me to share documents? Thank you. Beautiful. So let's go for the second part. So now who gonna use that? And we said everyone can use that. It's architect, engineers, any field. And now we need to go to the important thing out of all this theoretical works, and what we're gonna do with it, and how we're gonna invest it, and how we're gonna get the best of it. It can be, first, let's say what we can do with it. It's just almost everything. There is no, but I'm gonna list, so you can make a complex geometry, you can design any type of forms and functional objects, automatically complicate long process, analyze, optimize, conceptualize, and that's really important for us as an architect, automatic annotation, automatic detailing, and also to edit. And the best of that is to save significant amount of money via, cutting off the repetition time. Where we should use it, again, almost everywhere. It depends on the fields you are in. As an urban designer, as an urban planner, as an architectural form maker, function, facade, structure, MEP, energy analysis, interior design, furniture design, automatic annotation and automation and automatic check, and road and parking area, and the list goes really, really long. And for example, for the architecture, for example, this is one of the best examples for Zaha Hadid architects is the Cartel Pendic, and in it, the lady, as usual with the innovative way of thinking, she has, or actually the office has two areas, and these two areas of design were meant to be connected, and the connection between them haven't done or specified as a group of points. And as you can see now in the YouTube link that I added for you, I selected lots of YouTube so you can have a look at what she's talking about. And you can see those lines are moving. The computer is actually calculating the optimum routes for the roads to connect those two areas. And now after the computer connected and knows the roads, it's apply the computer the grid of the plot area, and then each plot area will be regenerated based on its location, whether it should be a high-rise or it should be a normal, low-rise building, and then the computer will start to generate, geometries and created the masses and distributed the lines and created the location of the master plan, as you can see here in this presentation. So that's a brilliant way of making urban design, different from calculating manually where the road goes, and different from calculating where the center and why it should be important, and which consideration of the urban view. It goes for the urban planning, and this is very small presentation for Omar Helmi. And again, we'll look at the smaller size of a design, and again, it's just a piece of rectangle, and how, if you put a road or a line that represents the center of road, how you can design an entire neighborhood with a couple of clicks. If you want to do that in AutoCAD, go ahead and good luck. You're gonna, look what he do. Look, he click, and he click again, and that's it. I will repeat that because you really need to consider how fast you are in design to do that with your old tools, like, AutoCAD or Max or whatever thing. Look, it's impossible to be compared to a human being race. Click, click, that's it. If you know how to do the script, and the script, when you become I don't want to say a professional, it won't take you that much of a time you think, and if you master it, you can repeat that infinitely. If you want to change a points in this rectangle, the entire design based on your specification, the occupation line, how many block area or green area you want in the middle, it will redistribute it with the offset of the width of the building. It will keep the constraints or the parameters of your design and change the design immediately. There is no human being can compare with this. Your old tool, let's say my grandfather tool, which is AutoCAD, will not be allowing us to do this. And that's the point that we really need to understand this type of design method. Otherwise, we're gonna stay in the way of, you know, using old techniques and old methods. And of course, it can be used in architecture. And I need to go quickly to allow like a 10 or 15 minute for a Q&A. And I spoke about the snowflake. You can find the full tutorials, by the way, in YouTube for it. And also you can have a look at the Shenzhen University Support Stadium. Again, that can be, I remodeled that on YouTube, and you can have a look. And in it, you can see there is an endless possibilities of the design that can be generated. This is not only computational design, but it's also it's a computational design plus generative design. And you can see that you have hundreds, I think it was like 10,000 or 5,000 design proposals done out of the algorithm that I did and uploaded to the internet. And each one you click, you can see that, maybe I have to go back. Each one you click, and you can see the parameters and the changes, and you can see there is almost infinite positions and infinite geometries of each position. You cannot compete, my friend, with this tools at all. Because instead of presenting one option for your client, you can present for him 400 or 500 design options. And which one he likes, and I'm talking about you can program that to get the best function, the less money, the best structural, the more stability. I can't talk forever for you with the more engineering. I'm talking more architecture, but this apply exactly to all engineers field. And you can say, and you can ask the computer to make not only an optimization, but it can actually tells you which one and tell you why you should use it, depending on how smart you use that. And that's all again for making architecture. And the list goes on and on. And that's, for example, another beautiful way of showing and letting the computer design a specific area based on parameter you provide. And you can see that, you know, changing the designer is changing the line of the lot and the design. You see that the living room dining will change automatically with it. And take the same rhythm and same parameter, it actually can design the overall neighborhood, not in 2D only, but rather in a 3D. And then he takes the concept that he generated this small neighborhood to create a bigger area of a bigger planning or urban design. And all you have to do is to place or to identify where is the location of the lots and let the computer generate for you, as you can see, the overall process or the overall area, and even can include street joints and traffic and offset the design, overall design result to get you quickly to the master plan to include roads and other functions in it. And as I said, the list, my dear friend, can goes on and on. It can be used in, of course, facade design. It can use as an aesthetics part of the computational design for the facade. Or if you are an engineer and you want to create a noise or a material or build quantities estimator, you can know how many columns you have, how many pieces of glass you have, and how much it costs you with a one click. And it's immediately, Dynamo will import that back to you to Excel, so you know how much you have and how many elements you have from each unit and how much money it's gonna cost you in a couple of seconds. If you are a structural design, again, there is lots of crazy topics here, and that's one of the examples. Sadly, I have this presentation bar I have to remove. The image is that here he designed a lattice, and you can see he applied. That's the point that I wanted to show you. He just in conceptual mass, he designed the shape. And you can see immediately with a click, he can apply the entire structure space framing for it in a couple of, after just one click of that, and he can get the result. You don't need to calculate that manually anymore. And that can go even for the strength of material and, testing which point it could be collapsed and where is the stability point and the weak point of it. If you are an MEP, God help your soul with all these details. And knowing how each system in the mechanical or electrical or plumbing are actually overlaid or coexistence can be one of the most daunting process in the field of engineering. And of course, having the magic to clash detect and understand that if they are going to cut each other on when and how at the earlier phase of design can save a significant amount of money. Of course, energy analysis, daylight analysis. I'm running quickly because I actually run out of time. It can be used in interior design. Actually, it is one of the famous aspect of it, which is where it goes with the interior, not only architecture, furniture design, of course. Now it's the trend, to be honest, and automatic dimension, and you just put the geometry you want, and that's the nightmare for all engineers. You can do that with a click. Just click and give you all the dimension for all the element. You start to feel frustrated with the tools you're working on after this talk. This one is my favorite, of course, because I made it. This one is I also presented on YouTube. I don't know why it's not working. Come on, baby. It's just simply take any plan you do, any, and it goes and asks you what parameter you want to check. So imagine if this is a big plan for a hospital and you have like 100 or 200 door and you want to check if they are matching the municipality regulation code. So let's say the criteria is the dimension or the width of the door, for example. And you can apply that for a furniture, you can apply that for a window, you can apply that for anything. Run this script, and with a one click, no matter how many doors you have, even you have 100 or 1,000, you will get a circle around the faulty door, my friend. And let me just show you. See, it can get with one click, you can just add a parameter. You can tell you that those guys are bad, those guys are good, and it can take you even further to replace the bad doors with the good doors. All right, change the dimension from 900 to 1,100, for example, to match the regulation. And you don't need to do that manually. You don't need to hold one door by another 100 door to check that manually, what you do in AutoCAD. You can calculate, check, and replace immediately. This is a time saver, knowing fire, egress location, and critical point, how much you build based on the site. It's all programmed, my dear friend. Clash detection, where's the HV hitting the, that's the fight between the ventilation and the pump, and the pipe and the plumbing design. It all can be shown for you in a 3D and can be done automatically. And the list can goes on, my friend. I have to stop here and give the mic for my dear friend, Mr. Adnan. These are the references that I used. Maybe if you post that later and have a look, they have the full rights. Of course, I'm just resharing and give them the credit for the material, plus the material that I have designed by myself. So that will be cover up, inshallah, all the copyright issue. So I'm very happy to give the mic for you, Mr. Adnan, and for those who have any question, and I'm happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Sure, Firas, sure. Thanks a lot. Firas, there's a question from one of the participants.
Yes.
The question is from Ayaz. He is saying like he's at a beginner level, having an experience of 1 to 2 years in the modeling field of BIM.
Yep.
So he's asking like whether it's good to start with Dynamo and computational design at this stage, or he should get some experience more in the BIM domain and then start working on the Dynamo or the computational design.
Well, first, hi, yes, how are you doing today? And that's a very important question. I answered this question on my YouTube channel, if you can go. I think the video name is a crazy video called, I think, The Fight Inside Your Brain. And that's really an important topic, because not only you, the entire universe now, all the architect, all the engineer, all the civil, is been trained, mentally trained, to follow steps that lead to a specific target. It doesn't, in architecture, we have been taught to find a shape in our brain, and that shape, how to make it. So yes, I highly advise you to start now to learn Dynamo, because, and also encourage you to do both BIM and Dynamo at the same time, because Dynamo, BIM was specifically talking about Revit, is the one who facilitates parametric architecture, and the parametric architecture allows us to have computational design. So do them both, because you need time to let your brain adapt to the new tools. And if you don't do that now, and if, let me say, you should do that 2 years ago, so you start now feel able to be 100% flip, and I don't want to say erase what we learned, but let's say we develop what we learned to the new design method. The more you practice, even the more you think of it. Just look at it. If you feel scared, just keep your eyes on how people think in computational design. If you are really don't have time to study Dynamo in detail, okay, it's okay, I understand. Everyone having time issue. But look at how people think in computational way, the computational thinking. Learn that. And inshallah, when you have some time, you can jump and go and study Dynamo in detail. And I advise you, because Dynamo and Grasshopper can be a minefield and a little bit of intimidating when you start. Follow my advice, my friend, and start learn basic geometries. You may laugh because you have a degree in engineering, for example, and I will ask you to learn how to do circles, interact with each other, make them union, make them subtract each other. If you learn these very basic skills in the beginning, it will encourage you, and you're going to feel yourself in a couple of weeks as a superhero to go do more complicated 3D elements, subtraction, loft, and then, you know, your speed goes on and on. So my advice is, yes, you have to do them both. And if you are intimidated in the beginning and you're scared because it's a new way of thinking, I know that, you just start doing basic geometries, like how you draw a circle and how you draw a rectangle. You will feel more confident. I did that because in the beginning I was scared. I said, it's a nightmare, I'm not going to do that. And it took me like 3-4 months in order to decide it. But after I decided, I regret that I didn't do that before. All right? I wish that can answer your question, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you can, Firas, just show your YouTube channel or share the
Yeah.
people can.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. You just go to YouTube. Just go to YouTube and just go to Google, actually. I lost my mouse here. And in YouTube, just go in YouTube, write Firas Noori. That's all what you need. And you're going to find my channel popping in, I think, the first one, because no one named Firas Noori. It's just me, I think. I'm joking. There is 4. I Google it. So this is the channel. You just put my name, Firas Noori, in the key search, and you'll get that. And for you, if you want to go learn Dynamo, I know some people new to YouTube, it might be intimidating. Don't go to home and scroll down and look, because you're going to feel lost, because I am posting in too many different topics. Go to playlist, my friend. And in the playlist, again, you can find a series of Dynamo in Arabic and Dynamo for interior design and Dynamo for beginner. I have 2 main playlists. This one, start with you, I think this one, 20 videos. Start with you step by step. That's the new list. It have only 20 videos. And I have an old one, which I have no idea what it is here. It have like 80 or 90 videos. So click on that, for example, or click on that. It depends which one you like. They are almost the same. This one have less video. This one, of course, have more. And you can follow each video step by step. It can guide you to it. And I will be available if you have any question. I am very interactive in answering emails and comments. So if you want anything, just tell me.
Sure. I think there's one more question by Samim Ahmad.
Yes. Yes, Samim. How are you doing?
Hi, Mr. Firas. Sorry, my video cam was, I don't know how is it.
It's okay. It never works when you want it to work. That's a normal thing. It hears you.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost in where it is actually. But anyway, thank you so much for such a great session. I really liked it.
Most welcome.
Really insightful.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, in terms of computational design and stuff. One question I had in my mind, I don't know if you have already answered it because I just went for a quick prayer. It was about digital fabrication and how it differs from computational design. Because of course the fabrication is happening afterwards.
Yes.
But how do you link these together? Is there a direct connection, or how actually?
What type of? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. If you can just give me some connection between these two.
What type of fabrication? What type of fabrication you have? What product you want to make, my friend? Are we talking about, you know, a specific 2D element that you need to unwrap using laser cutter techniques, or you want to go with robotics and 3D printers? What do you think about, my friend?
Yeah, robotic and 3D printers, for the most part, because I'm thinking of, let's say, modular construction, and
Yes.
the way that you explained of different shapes, like organic shapes,
Yes.
with the different weights and forms,
Well,
how it actually can help. Yeah.
Well, look, my dear Mr. Samim. For fabrication. Even if you want to go and make a complicated fabrication in Dynamo, you can, and again, you can use it as a part of Revit. You can use it a part of Revit Steel, and I think 4 or 5 applications that I show you depend on what is the nature of your field. But if I talk Revit, for example, you can direct. You can have lots of tools within Dynamo to control Revit to add automatic fabrication or specify even detail elevations or detail elements for you. So it can change the design from a concept level to a detailed level in a couple of seconds. That's first. And I'm talking architectural wise. If you want to go to fabricating system, there is a special plugin on special steps you can use. And I can show you, I think, a couple of them available. I think I spoke of 2 or 3 in my YouTube. Not really quite sure. They're going to do the unfold for you. So if you want to do that in a 2D laser cutter, it can take any geometry, slice it horizontally and vertically if you want that. And I explained this technique in the series when I was talking about the Snowflake Tower design. There are 12 videos you can have a look at. This is the first method. The second method, it can make the outside, so technically build the element as a horizontal element and a vertical element, and it's allow you to overlap them to create with the laser cutter to create a geometry that look like the tower you want to design, for example. Or there is another plugin. I designed this plugin. It's very easy, by the way. You can design it yourself. Or take the faces and unwrap it, and give you the unwrap, give you the overlap join and where to cut and where to scratch, so you will be able to bend to create a 3D model. Now we're talking about 2 types of fabrication, the slice method fabrication, and we're going to talk about the unwrap fabrication, and both are available, fully compatible in Dynamo. And the third method is to have to send it as an STL. And this thing is just to create a solid element of an STL technologies that can be sent to any Ultimaker or any 3D printer that's going to build it for you. The detail of that fabrication, I can do that, and it's very easy to be done in Dynamo if you want to create. If you are using a fully solid shell or a 50% grid, I can make a fader grid that starts from 10% support to fully solid element for a 3D printer and an STL technology, so any robot can cut it for you. But why you do that? You just create the mass in Dynamo, send it to the conceptual mass in Dynamo. Life is easy, by the way. You don't need to redefine the wheel, my friend. Send that to any software. Let's say, I don't know if you're familiar with Ultimaker, for example. The Ultimaker will take it from you, and it's the one who creates the support for you in the 3D printing process. You don't need to create the 3D sub-elements in order to create the support for a 3D printer. If you bought the new Ultimaker clay modeling technique, I'm talking about PLA and PVA modeling. If you are talking about the clay modeling and cement modeling, also available by Ultimaker, they have the software to design the route, the spiral route that is going to pour the concrete for you. You can use that in buildings if you want, by the way. And it knows where to put the support and how, not you. But if you want to do that, it is very feasible in Dynamo. But I'm advising you, go have a look and look what people done, because in Dynamo, when you get strong in Dynamo, it kind of has come out some of arrogancy, to be honest, because you're going to want to do everything. This is wrong. Just Google, because you're going to find lots of people done that job for you. And all the 3D software, my dear friend, actually supporting these techniques. It do the 3D fabrication for you. You don't need to divide them or to design them in Dynamo. And if you want, you can. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. You brought a really good point, actually. And with that, I have another question in mind, actually.
Yeah, I'm very happy to answer. I'm very happy.
So the question is in regards to because I'm a QS, quantity surveyor.
Yeah.
So being a QS, if I think of those dynamic shapes, let's say for my false ceiling or the suspended ceiling,
Yes.
I've got a dynamic shape, and that is really varying throughout
Yeah.
the area. It's not same at all.
Indeed.
So how am I supposed to get the quantities of those different waves, for instance?
All right.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where.
I already answered this question with an example, I think, in the channel. If you have a go surf for it. I'm not really sure if I published the material, because some of the material I publish as just a demonstration, not an educational material. Some of them I really need them for my research, so I cannot publish everything. But if you manage to create a surface in Dynamo, or even Grasshopper if you want, any computational design platform, the surface will carry with itself the actual area for it. And not only the actual area for it, but it will also carry on with its U and V value coordination system that move you from the normal X and Y coordination system to U and V coordination system. So in Dynamo, in Grasshopper, not only you can know what is the area of what you're going to build now, but you can also, plus that, you can know how it will be constructed and how the surface will be deformed in around the x-axis, which is the U, or around the y-axis, which is the V, and how you actually construct that. You can define later on each point of the X and Y, or let's say the correct word, U and V, and how to put them related to the ceiling. So it tell you that this rectangle should be, its point should be 1 meter, this one 1.5, this one 1.2. So you know the imaginary points for your object and where to put them. So the answer is yes, and it's very easy to be calculated within Dynamo, both as an area and also as a way, if you want to tessellate it or divide the surface into small rectangles, it will tell you where is the points for each rectangle and how you're going to fix it.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Most welcome, mate.
Thank you, Samim. Thanks a lot. There's one more question from Surinder.
Go ahead.
Hi, Firas. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Very good presentation.
Hi, brother. How are you? Thank you very much.
Yeah, fine. One question I have is like I am also basically a structural engineer. Apart from,
Yes.
I'm not an architect.
Yeah, welcome, mate.
Shapes are created by generative designs are highly complex. So structural design philosophy deals about symmetricity and proper pattern. So then only the structural load distribution will be uniform.
Yes.
So in this case, how in the generative design created forms or shape, how to how to tackle structural engineering?
Okay, I will ask you I will act as a structural engineer with you to answer you. But let me first say, what type of structural system? Are you going to use concrete beams, or are you going to use space framing? What are you doing?
Usually framed structures.
So frame structure. In a frame structure, it's even easier for you to imagine. So let's be more specific and go deeper in the structure. Are we talking about the facade itself or the floors? What do you want?
No, the floor. The floor pattern itself is changing from every floor, and
that's the terrifying part. Yeah, that's the terrifying part. And the even more terrifying part is the facade. So each one of those can be a little bit intimidating or a little ghost by itself. I know, but I would like to answer. I would like to answer that by a video. The first time I feel frustrated in my life, and I said I will study computational design. I think it's the company name was Comet, and I don't want to go YouTube because I know I have Mr. Adnan have this look on his face because that means that time is finished. I know him. I know that's when he's smiling. That means he's consolidating the theory. So quickly, if we want to talk about the slab, then there is a formula very easy formula that can compare all the slab shape, because if I follow back now my presentation and I show you the snowflake tower for the lava architect, there is no floor similar to the one above. That can give a heart attack for all the drafter in the universe. So first you have to have Revit. Stop using AutoCAD, advice number 1, for God's sake. That's number 2. The third thing is, because the Revit can generate for you an automatic slicing techniques, which is automatic plan generation, which is the most important in your case, the outline of the plan. That's number 1. Now we take the outline of the plan and let Dynamo compare each level, each plan. It automatically goes, trace your levels in Revit, take an outline out of your plan, change it into 2D shape, accumulate them above each other, and know what is the geometry that actually shared between them. By knowing that, it will redistribute automatically whatever system, structural system you want. You can put circular, you can put columns in it. You can, let me talk about the vertical element. It will redistribute the columns for you. If you can encode the loads, which is very easy to be done, to be honest, into the radius of the beams and the distances of the span, that will be easy because Dynamo will immediately distribute the grid for you and give you the diameter or the radiuses of your column immediately. And if you are a little bit more advanced, it can carry and calculate a reduction of load, which means a reduction in the beams, sorry, in the columns radius when you go up and up, because you don't need to make them all the same radius while you go up, and that's very easy to be calculated if you compare the amount of dead load and the life load, of course, together. That will be accumulated to the radius of the beam, the radius of the column where you go vertically. And if you are talking about the space of framing, it's for the structure, for the slabs itself, it's also by knowing the grid location that comes from the point, their intersection with your horizontal outline, which is the plan, you can figure out or actually let the computer design the grid for you and know what type of space of frame you want to add. You can program a single adaptive component, one unit that can know, a smart unit that can know how much load it's been carrying and where is its support system and what type of support system, is it fixed or dynamic, and then it will be redistribute the overload into changing its parameter, changing its depth, changing its relationship, and even the span itself and the inside span between each of them, it will be automatically generated for you. Sadly, I am not an engineer and a civil engineer, but I think I can do it, but I never did that. But the concepts are self-extrapolated, you know, you can, if you understand the basic engineering, you can understand and design your own tool. I didn't do that. I did the beam distribution and the structural system in 1 or 2 videos, but not this specific because, you know, I don't know, I didn't do load distribution in I'm an architect, you know, but it easily can be done if you have the knowledge, the engineering knowledge as a civil engineer. So that's my answer for you.
So I got your point, like you can use a Dynamo for the load distribution.
Indeed, indeed. And even for estimating the location for both the beams and the spacer frames. It can be done. I saw that 3-4 years ago, my friend. It's very old technology and can be done very easily now.
Okay. I have another question. It's not about structural engineering.
Yep.
We are used to see a symmetrical figure or symmetrical shapes,
yes.
shapes.
Yes.
Which, even the complicated shapes will be a kind of biomimicry.
Yes.
So it's like if consider an Olympic stadium in China, it is a nest-shaped. Parameters and it gives a shape or thing which is out of box.
Okay.
Correct. This won't create a psychological mind, or it will create a psychological piece will be disturbed or not. Seeing odd shapes around, inner and around us, this will create a psychological problem, right?
I little bit lost your voice. The internet was a little bit cutting when you said the last pieces. Can you please repeat the question? Thank you.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, if you're in and around, if I'm seeing a symmetrical figure or a usual figure which I'm used to, so I'll be having a balance, psychologically balanced. So if I see a weird figures coming out in my build as a building
yes.
and around,
yes.
this will create a psychological environmental changes. So will it be a problem or something?
Well, are you asking about the downside or the psychological fear or discomfort that can happen due to the geometries or the architectural forms that you are seeing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a normal, that's a very fair question, and it's not to the computational design to answer, because the computational design actually folding architecture and organic architecture, it's happened even before the computational revolution happened and the deconstruction design. And the deconstruction design even create lots of revulsion and negative feeling with the geometries. That's true. Lots of people actually, not some of them actually, are actually hating the type of geometries because it's not natural ones. and for other it's represent an innovation and a challenge to be done. Yes, architecture can be a monster that you live and look at, and it can be beautiful, and it depends on your point of view. There is no right and wrong. This is the nightmare of all architects. There is no right and wrong in it, my friend. And yes, it's related to the feelings. You might hate it, and we have nothing to blame any movement as a computational design. This should be, or as a folding architecture or organic architecture, you should be, you know, talking to, or let this conversation to be held with the municipalities that organize what type of facades and what type of a design. If you left that to the architects, give them the full freedom, God knows what crazy shapes they're gonna create. That's normal. That's architecture, you know. But you have a point. But you have a point. You know, some people are just making crazy shapes and annoying shapes. And yeah, because they have the money or their client have the money, they build it. Well, c'est la vie. This is the life, mate.
Thank you.
Most welcome, my friend. Hi, Mr. Rajesh. I know you very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just wanted to ask you a question. Regarding to the facade design. So I did my master's thesis on facade design. It was a bit nightmare for me to transfer my grasshopper geometry from Rhino to, you know, kind of for detailing. So just now you said, like, you know, it's a nightmare. Could you just kind of, you know, focus on?
Well, it's not. Yes, go ahead. Continue.
How can we, you know, kind of detail it out, the facade? Because it's really a nightmare.
Well, sadly, I have to give you the good news, and that's really a deep sentence to be said. Sadly, because for me, I'm with Autodesk, so I shouldn't give you this advice, because I should tell you go learn Dynamo, because that's what Autodesk people say. But that's why sadly, I have to give you the good news. The good news is for you and for the rest of the planet Earth, who actually started with the Grasshopper at the beginning, that now in Grasshopper 7, there is something called Grasshopper 7. I don't know. It's called automatic Rhino export to Dynamo, to Revit. So this will allow you. It's Revit inside Rhino. Yes, beautiful. So something W something Rhino. I don't know. I can't remember the name. I just installed it and I hate myself for it, and I just closed it. But with this, yes, yeah. But with that, you don't need to learn Dynamo. You just send your create your geometry in the complex shape in Rhino. Don't send the object to the Revit project environment. No, just send it to the conceptual design. When you send it to the conceptual design platform, then save as, open a new Revit file and save as, or import the conceptual mass into Revit. And if you go to YouTube channel, my Revit course that I teach at Ajman University explain this in detail for my student, and you are more than happy to look at it. How you change from conceptual mass to Revit project environment. You can get your geometry within a couple of seconds into conceptual mass. Inside conceptual mass, before you send it to the project environment, there is something called adaptive component in Revit. Just open adaptive component, whether it's a GM or CPPM, decide what type of complex, design the adaptive component, and I posted 4 or 5 videos in YouTube on how to make an adaptive component. It's gonna clad for you the geometry, and immediately after it's been cladded, you can send it straight forward to Revit. You don't need to feel sad about you not learning Dynamo or you don't know Dynamo. You know? So with this technique, you can do that. And I just gave you the steps, my friend. Just have a look at it and follow the steps in my channel. And if you need anything related, just write a comment and I will answer you to show you which video exactly. Hello?
Yes, Firas, you're audible.
Yes, thank you very much. So I wish that answered the question for, I think that, did that answer the question, I think? I lost the gentleman. I don't know where he, I think he didn't join yet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more question from one student, Firas. She wanted to ask like how Dynamo can be utilized for the MEP modeling part, or how Dynamo can be used for the MEP modeling.
Well, for MEP modeling, my friend, it depends on what type of course, MEP. But if we look at the whole 3 or 4 disciplines together, for the mechanical system, it can, for example, let's say specify the mechanical and ventilation. You can specify what type of ducts you're gonna have, the length of them. You can optimize the best point. You can add the outlet and inlets for it automatically better than you specified manually in AutoCAD. It can calculate for you automatically duct change in width based on the specification you need. It can, which is most important, avoid the duct movement in a 3D, not to be clashed with the other MEP component, let's say the pipes, for example, and the electrical ducts. Not only changing in the ducts, but also the change in the location in the Z-axis to allow for the other elements to be passed in the location. You can imagine, you can create immediate overlap system, which is this is an important topic and easy to be done. That you can create or allow your overlay design when you create the MEP system. When you apply that MEP system, immediately it will cut the horizontal and the vertical opening in the slabs or the walls without the need to go back to each wall and then cut them manually, because that will affect the bill of quantity that you have in both vertical elements and horizontal elements. So you can specify how it automatically cuts the walls, automatically cut and wear, and it's create the type of architectural fenestration or the opening you need immediately. For MEP, that's, I think, for electrical is the same concept. It can create automatic distribution. You can define the lighting fixture system also automatically if you create your own design pattern, and you can change the codes of your design into very small Excel sheet and load the Excel sheet as an algorithm inside Dynamo and let Dynamo distribute for you for each room. So you select the boundary of the room, or you select the room element in Revit, and Dynamo will create for you the required plan or the required amount of lighting you have within your room. You don't need to distribute that manually anymore. Actually, lots of things. That's the things I'm speaking about out of the top of my head. Plus, I am not an MEP designer. But if we chat later and you give me the inputs you want to do, I will give you the outputs you can get. If you understand my point. But I wish that can answer your question.
Right. There's actually one more question from my side, Firas.
Go ahead.
We started with generative design. There was by Autodesk. Later on, they moved on to project refinery.
Come again, Mr. Adnan, because I lost your voice for a couple of seconds while you was talking.
Yeah, I was asking, there was a platform called as Project Fractal.
Yes, true.
And then later on, there was another platform which was created by Autodesk.
Project Refinery.
Yeah. And there was one more project which was happening a long back. That was Project Quantum.
Yep.
So what's exactly like they are trying to build up with the generative design?
Well,
Project Quantum.
Well, there is lots of other news. Sadly I cannot tell you. There is lots of way much more news happening now in Autodesk. I'm attending their regular meetings because I'm part of the Autodesk expert community. We're not supposed to give details related to what they are doing. The changes they're gonna bring are amazingly, really serious big ones. You should have expected them maybe probably for the next year to be shown. They're gonna switch the entire work environment in a very creative way. I'm again not allowed to speak the details based on the NOC I signed with them, but I will answer your question because for Autodesk they are an innovative people and they keep changing things in a very, very beautiful way. And the way what they did, that they are actually developing and experiencing so many types of cloud-based situation, and they start up by Project Refinery, I think, or Project Fractal, I think, and then change to Project Refinery. And they also have the Green Studio building, and this is another platform, cloud-based platform. Now they have, I think, online rendering platform, and by that you don't need to buy a scary machine. You know, you can buy a basic machine that can run Revit and Max, and you've done the calculation in the cloud. You pay fees, annual fees, and you do that. And they did the same thing with the Project Refinery and Project Fractal. Let's say it's the generative design cloud-based platform. So instead of having super machines that have 6 or 7 or 8 CPUs to calculate for you, for example, you put 4 or 5 criteria. Let's say one of them to find the best area, the other one to find the best structural design, the other criteria is the least money. You put 4 or 5 important, which building, how you're going to distribute the floors to get the best view. You have like 7 and 8 criteria, and you want to crazily design them and test them together. You'll need like 4 days of calculation, or with like 4 or 5 computers, each one of them have multiple thread CPUs. And then instead of doing that, and you will probably get failed because there is no computer can do all this calculation, they offer you a cloud-based calculation system, which is basically Project Fractal. So you do the computational design in Dynamo, upload it to the Project Fractal, and specify part of it where it runs for you the generative design. Gets back to you with like, it depends on what you design, what type of generative design you do. Are you making optioneering, or are you making optimization? It depends on what you're doing actually. Do you want to see all the option, or the best of the options, or the option that's gonna fail and why, so you can avoid them, or the option that can create the least damage, more profit? It depends on what you want. So that's why they are keep changing. They are keep changing because they are keep developing, trying to hear from the expert and from the user around the world, and try to see what type of a product that gonna suit the best of the needs, depend on their, depend on the market demands. So that's what they're doing,
So it will be released accordingly, like maybe next year.
I don't have any idea about the release issue, but I think it's next year. I think. Yeah. But again, Project Fractal is free, by the way. It's not something secretly, or it's already released, and I think everyone can use it. Last time I used, but that's all 2 months ago. I don't know.
Refinery is in beta version.
Yeah, but the other one, the Project Fractal, I think it's already on. I think. Did they close it? I don't know.
No, they have closed it. Project Refinery is working.
Yep. Yep. One of them is. I'm pretty sure it's working. So. Yeah.
There's one more platform, if you remember. I hope you have used it for a couple of times. Flux.io.
I didn't.
Flux.
I don't think I used it before. So.
It is for capturing the GIS information of a particular site.
Nope. No.
Draw the thread.
I can't remember that I used this. Sadly. Sorry.
Yeah, Rajesh, you have something.
You can check Hyper by Mr. Hyper Human. Yeah, Hyper.
Okay.
Yeah, Firas, just 2 questions. Any Autodesk plugin to quickly convert scan to BIM models? I have been listening a lot that they are developing something.
What type of CAD model you want to get into Revit? Is it 2D or 3Ds?
It's 3D.
A 3D. You can import them straight to the conceptual ones, my friend.
No. I'm asking you like the modeling part. Like
yes.
I have a point cloud data.
Yes.
And I'm modeling around point cloud data.
Well,
any AI machine learning stuff which is
I have no idea, to be honest. I thought you are needed just normal DWG extraction to Revit. I have no idea. I didn't use the point cloud much. It's just one time I think I have a look at it, and sadly I cannot give you any information because I don't have, so I don't know that.
Thank you.
No worries.
There's one more question from Asad. He wants to ask, Dynamo application applications for structural engineers? I hope like Firas has already answered about it.
Yep. Plus, I'm an architect, so having a few. But if you remind me on YouTube, I can do a search for you if you want, and I can answer that for you. What type of extra plugins that do the structural design? I'm more than happy to answer that. Just remind me on YouTube and keep with me, and I will try my best to answer that.
Just one more technical question.
Go ahead, my friend.
Since you're an architect, any comment on Galapagos or say the other optimization algorithms that you use?
Well, they are, let's say they are the twin of Project Fractal and Project Refinery. They are doing the same thing in exactly that. There is a big competition between Dynamo and Grasshopper, and the tools are almost identical, by the way. Grasshopper has the upper edge, indeed, because it's, I think, 2007, so it's 5 years older than Dynamo, which is 2013, and that's why it have bigger community, more tools, and wider shared material. So yeah, what you can have Galapagos is actually Project Fractal. You know, it's the same.
And people developing multi-objective optimization algorithm from Daniel Nagy, like he has something called as I think he has his own multi-objective optimization.
Yep. I'm not really well with the Grasshopper thing, but I'm having a friend with me. He always keep telling me the updates about it. They also have the Ladybug, I think, for energy, and that can substitute for lots of headache when you do that and you can do that, by the way, in Autodesk also. I forgot the name. God's sake. There is one of the energy analysis platform they have. That's actually linked
Autodesk
to
Insight.
I think Insight. Yes, exactly. Which is take the architectural model and change it to thermal model and then do the simulation and the calculation for you. Beautiful.
So do you think that this workflow, like Rhino inside Revit, do optimization in Rhino Grasshopper and then export the geometry?
I think will work. I saw some YouTubes and I was very angry, almost crashing my laptop. And I don't know why they do that, by the way. It's I wish I can talk back to that, whoever genius did that, but anyway. And it's what I saw, it's amazing. But that can affect both software. That can affect negatively, honestly, both software. And I don't know what type of things happen in their heads to make this type of cooperation. And otherwise, they should have bought the Grasshopper and saved the headache for the whole sides. Opening a collaboration between them, in my humble point of view, is not a good thing. But whatever, current status quo, the situation now is there is a link. And from the amount of videos I see, it's beautiful. You can make lots of stuff, but it's weakly. It's going to weaken both things. Both Grasshopper has its industry. Their problem is they cannot get in detail. That's true because it is a computational design, with all my respect, located in a weak platform, which is Rhinoceros. Rhinoceros is not weak. Let me refine my statement. Rhinoceros is designed for conceptualization work. So when you want, it is not a building information tool. Revit is a building information tool. Rhino is a CAD tool. Let's face that. It doesn't allow you to buy directional associativity. It doesn't have automatic links. It doesn't have. This is the way it is. They did Grasshopper to give it a computational ability, not to give it a BIM ability. This is what I will try to explain in my next lecture. What's the difference between options or operating systems that run within BIM platform from the operating system, or the generative design platform that runs inside a CAD platform. Because now AutoCAD can run parametric design and computational design, but in a very limited way. So, that's how I think it. It's, yes, there is lots of good things done, but did something out of that? No, because I'm not really in a Grasshopper thing, so I barely know how to navigate through it. And I don't know how good it is, because you're asking the wrong guy. I'm with the Dynamo thing, so, I'm trying to learn Grasshopper, to be honest.
Just, another question, like just 2 consecutive
Go
questions.
ahead.
The first one is like Revit, Dynamo, and C# development, like with the Revit API.
Okay.
Do you think it is necessary for architects to really dwell after Dynamo to C#?
Do you,
API is itself a thing.
first you are asking, do people have to learn API?
Yeah, like
Or C#
we need to go.
or Python? Well, I tried to learn Python. At the beginning, I was very happy and I created a couple of good stuff. But then I found out that almost for the amount of type of work I'm doing, I think Dynamo is way much more good. And I can do everything almost that I need, almost everything in it. As an advice, first, make yourself good in BIM. So pick Revit, and I'm sure that you're gonna use Revit. I don't know. I'm betting that in India you're using Revit, right? You don't use ArchiCAD, or you use ArchiCAD. I have no idea.
No, Revit.
Revit. So if you are using Revit, make sure you are good at Revit. That's step one. Sadly, I cannot say step two, start Dynamo. You should start Dynamo with Revit. And because Dynamo is an open battlefield, it's open platform, so open source system. So the more you know out of the concepts, the more you can get later on out of it. So let's say first you learn Revit, second you learn Dynamo, and then see what you want to do. If you can't do it with Dynamo, that's it. Live your life. If you find something you cannot do with Dynamo, and that's happened with me, and I always say, don't rediscover the wheel. Go to YouTube. I can show you. There's lots of people can help you to answer this type of a question. Just say, I want to do a cucumber in Dynamo. There will be 4 or 5 nerdy people jumping to the conversation and tell you how you can do a cucumber. And some people are even happy to share a script to do a cucumber for you. You don't need to go design the cucumber again, And that's what happened with me. I always find a problem. I am too lazy to do Go search. Very lazy person. So what I do, let me spend 5 weeks doing it in Dynamo. And I will convince myself, how about I teach myself new stuff? That's very wrong, because you're going to waste time. I know it's good to learn. Okay, but there is lots of Dynamo people who did this job you want to do. Just go search. And of course, you go search in the right place. You have I think the hub, GitHub, and you have the Dynamo Premiere. And there is lots of very beautiful forum you can join, and there's lots of professionals who are very happy and willing, including myself, to answer you either via YouTube or either via the official website. See if someone else did it. Just ask them for it. Some people will share. Some people will not. It depends on if they are selling it or not. It's their own right. And if it's not there, that's the time I go tell you, okay, go try to do it in Dynamo yourself. And if it's not there, that's the time I will go to tell you to go C# or Python, try to discover your own alphabetics. Okay? I don't advise you now. I don't advise the end up result. Try learn BIM, try learn Dynamo, enhance your skills in searching in the right places. Then try to do it yourself if you couldn't search it. If you failed in Dynamo, that's the time to go inside Dynamo for C# API or Python to learn how to do it. But it's too early, I think. For me, I go learn lots of parts of it, but I didn't find it so much useful for me, to be honest. If I stayed the time and effort in Dynamo, I would have learned better, I think.
Just last question.
Go ahead.
Any support for multi-threading for Dynamo?
None of I hear about, to be honest.
No, as a customer, I would like to tell you this, that please convey this to the Autodesk. It would be really great if Revit itself could process also support multi-threading.
I don't think it's allowed generic what they call it, distributed rendering or distributed system or multi-thread system. I don't think you can do that, but I will check if there is any way to be able to be doing it. And plus why you want to do that? You have the project fractal, so you don't need to do complicated geometries. Just lower your parameter, so you can run it in your own machine. When you want to do a complicated test that have lots of geometries, just push the slider up and send it to the project fractal, and he will do it for you. You don't need to lose money on buying machines anymore. That's my point. But I will check. I promise you I'll check.
Yeah, please.
All right. All right. Keep in touch in YouTube.
Yeah, Firas, actually, there's one last question.